Hello. Thank you for your interest in our Social Emotional Learning Winter Series. This is a 6-part series with our friend Kendra Cram. Kendra is a social emotional learning teacher for the Minford Elementary School in Minford, Ohio. In her position, she teaches weekly SEL lessons to approximately 600 students grades kindergarten through 5th. As a result of her work, the students at Minford Elementary have over 200 hours of conversations on SEL topics such as self-awareness, decision-making, anger management, and much more before transitioning to middle school. Kendra earned a bachelor's degree in elementary education K-8 with an emphasis in intervention for students with learning and behavior disabilities and a master's degree in school counseling. Kendra's work has been highlighted by multiple media outlets from podcasts to national television programs like This Is Life with Lisa Lang. Her work has served as a model for numerous schools in Ohio and beyond. Kendra is passionate about trauma-informed care and providing mental health education and support to all children. Kendra also provides training to help equip her fellow teachers with the tools to support the children they serve. She is also a single mom to 3 amazing children. This series is brought to you by the West Virginia Behavior and Mental Health Technical Assistance Center. It is a collaboration between the West Virginia Autism Training Center and the West Virginia Department of Education. Video 2 of the 6-part series is on emotional awareness and vocabulary.
Hi, I'm Kendra Cram and I teach social emotional learning. And today I'm going to talk to you about some of the lessons that I do in my classroom about emotional awareness and vocabulary. So to start with, we just have to build kids' emotional vocabulary. Just like we're building their vocabulary for other subject areas, we need to help empower them with the vocabulary that they need to express their emotions and what they need and how they're feeling. So we're going to do this through a variety of ways. One of the ways that we start is we start talking about different emotions and how they feel in our body. So we have a body chart here and we talk about where do I feel it in my body whenever I'm feeling nervous? Or where do I feel it in my body when I'm feeling angry? You know, when I'm nervous, I might have a knot in my stomach, or I might feel kind of shaky or jittery, or I might start feeling sweaty, or my heart is beating fast. When I'm angry, I might have my face turns red and my fists clench, or maybe my jaw clenches, and I might feel like my head's gonna pop off of my body. So when we're talking about emotional vocabulary, we're talking about how does it feel, each one of those emotions, and sometimes I will be experiencing an emotion and I don't even realize. I'll be feeling the symptoms in my body, but I don't realize what it is. So learning how to figure out, oh, wait a minute, I'm feeling these things right now. I think I might be feeling nervous, or I'm feeling these things right now. I'm really angry. Helps us to be able to cope with those emotions later. So that's one of our first steps, is talking about what does it feel like. So we also might say, it's like, here's an example here's my worry monster of how worry feels like. The worry eyes are, the brows, their hands are together, the mouth is turned down, you have a nervous tummy and worried thoughts. And here are some of the thoughts that I might have when I'm worried. Things like, what if no one likes me? Or what if I never learn this? Or what if I make a mistake? Those are some of the thoughts. So taking kids through the process of what it feels like in my body when I have this emotion, and what are some of the thoughts that I'm thinking when I have this emotion, helps them to be able to learn to recognize it when they're experiencing it in their real life, and then they can apply their coping skills that we teach them later. So also learning how to recognize that emotion in other people through their body language and through their facial expressions and tone of voice. So we're talking about, what does mad look like and how can I tell? Those kind of things. Learning how to pick up on some social cues and read the room of how other people are feeling and where they're at emotionally helps them in their life. So we're going to do some things where we look at facial expressions and we look at body language and we talk about tone of voice. That I can say the same thing in different tones of voice and it feels different. It has different meaning based on my tone of voice. So that's part of getting started with that. Also, a lot of times kids just have one word for how they're feeling. They're nervous. And helping kids to be able to have other words is really empowering because it doesn't quite mean the same thing. If we look at anxiety, and I found this on Teachers Pay Teachers, we can talk about I'm totally calm, I'm relaxed, I'm on edge, I'm tense, I'm slightly stressed, I'm worried, I'm nervous, I'm very nervous, I'm panicked. These have different, panicked is very different than tense. And helping kids with this vocabulary empowers them to say exactly what level they're feeling that emotion. So we have these for all the different emotions in order to help kids to build their emotional vocabulary. So this is ours for anger, because feeling bothered is not the same thing as furious. And feeling annoyed is not the same thing as I'm feeling explosive right now. So being able to recognize these shades of our emotion and having the vocabulary is very empowering for our kids. And I also want to show the happiness one because it's very different to feel content than it is to feel overjoyed. So giving kids some positive words as well as the other, making sure we're embracing all of the different emotions that kids have. So when we talked about how we feel in our body, we've talked about emotional vocabulary and how to describe things more explicitly. One of the things that we talk about is the zones of regulation. Now, those zones of regulation, you can just Pinterest this or go to Teachers Pay Teachers, and you can find all kinds of things. I used one with Inside Out because a lot of them have seen this cartoon and they know it and love it. So in the zones of regulation, there are different categories of how we feel. So when I'm in the blue zone, I'm feeling sad or depressed or tired. And what I tell kids is this is when my body is moving slowly. This is when my body is kind of, that feeling is when I'm in the blue zone. Now, when I'm in the green zone, that's when I'm happy or I'm feeling energized or I feel good. And that's when I'm having that just right feeling. It's when I'm in the green zone. In the green zone is where my brain works the best. And my brain works in the other zones, but my brain learns the best when I'm in the green zone. So when kids know this, they can say, wait a minute, I'm in the blue zone. I'm not ready to learn yet. Or I'm in the red zone. My brain's not going to work very well. And I'm about to have math class or I'm about to have a math test. I need to do some things to get myself to the green zone where I'm happy and good to go for the lesson. So the next one is the yellow zone, and this is when my body is moving too quickly. This is when I feel jittery, or I might be feeling kind of shaky. I might feel nervous or embarrassed or worried about something. I've lost some control, but I'm not completely out of control. I say this is always on the inside. When I'm in the yellow zone, the inside of me feels kind of shaky and nervous and a little bit out of control. So that is the yellow zone. Also in the yellow zone is when I'm too hyper or too silly or being a little bit too, I can't sit still, too fidgety. I can recognize that I'm feeling that way and say, whoa, I'm in the yellow zone right now. And that's not where my brain works best. So I need to do some things to help myself get to the green zone where I'm happy, focused, and calm. The next one is the red zone. And I want to make sure that I talk to kids about the fact that all of these emotions and all of these things are normal. It's not that one is bad and one is good. It's that I feel best when I'm in the green zone. But everybody gets mad. In fact, it's really healthy to get mad. Sometimes it's really important that sometimes some things should probably make you mad. Sometimes being mad or feeling nervous is a way that we stay safe. So I don't want kids to feel like every time they're nervous, it's a bad emotion. All emotions are normal emotions. It's a normal thing that we go through. But sometimes we get in the red zone. Everyone, including me, gets in the red zone. So I talk to kids about this to make sure that they understand that it isn't about getting in the red zone. It's about what do I do when I am in the red zone. So when I'm in the red zone is when I'm really angry, and my kids have motions for all of these, and our motion for the red zone is we're out of control. That's what we're feeling when we're in the red zone. So it's important to say that everyone gets in the red zone sometimes. It's about what I do and how I handle it when I'm in the red zone. And to know that there are things that I can do to get myself to the green zone where I'm happy, focused, and calm. So as I'm teaching kids this, they'll start to tell me throughout the classroom, throughout the day, Miss Cram, I'm in the blue zone, or Miss Cram, I'm in the yellow zone. I need a break. And starting to learn what I need when I'm in the different zones is super empowering and helps kids to take charge of themselves. So realizing that I'm feeling in the red zone, I can ask to take a break. I can go for a walk. I can take 5 deep breaths or count to 10. I can talk to an adult, or I could get a drink of water. I can do some things that there are tools that I can do when I'm in different zones that are going to help me get to the green zone where I'm happy, focused, and calm and ready to learn. So that's exciting. The other thing that I talk to kids about is that sometimes my emotions don't make sense. Sometimes they're not perfect exactly all in one zone. Sometimes I might be in 2 zones at one time. That's because our emotions are complex. And so sometimes I might be really sad that you're leaving our classroom and going to a new school, but I'm also really excited for you and you having a new adventure in your life. So I can be frustrated about something and excited to learn something at the same time. So I might even feel angry and sad at the same time. We've all experienced this as adults, so we have to help kids to recognize it and to see it so that they can deal with those emotions themselves and get through their day the best they can. So I want to talk to you for a second about read alouds. Anytime I'm doing a lesson with social emotional learning, I always try to do a read aloud and to do some bibliotherapy. Pretty much any book that you pick up can be used for this, but I'm going to show you some that are specifically geared towards emotional regulation and emotional awareness and vocabulary. So these are books that I will share with my kids and we'll talk about and dissect. Always in the beginning of the lesson, I'm going to introduce the topic. Today's is emotional awareness and vocabulary, and then I'm going to do a read aloud of some books. And I'm just going to show you just a couple real quick of the ones that I might use in my classroom. One is Dr. Seuss's Many Colored Days. And this is a great one because it has great illustrations of how it feels on the different days, and even on how one day can be mixed up and have several different emotions in one day. Here's another one, Today I Feel Silly and Other Moods That Make My Day by Jamie Lee Curtis. This is one of our very favorites. It's Glad Monster, Sad Monster. And the reason it's our favorite is it has these pull-out masks that we can use. And my first graders and kindergartners love to do this about their different emotions. And in this one, we're really talking about facial expressions. And we can say, I can tell before I even read the words. I can tell by looking at these pictures and illustrations how this monster's feeling. I can tell by his facial expressions and body language. And I can do that for every page. This one is Little Big Feelings, and it's talking about all the different zones of regulation and things that I can even do to help turn my day around. This is a series. This one's Emotional Intelligent Ninja, but the whole Ninja series they have an entire series on social emotional learning. And this is also a fun one. It's In My Heart. And again, we wouldn't really even have to read the words to be able to tell what the character is feeling in a lot of this. So we'll talk, before I even read the words, we talk about, look at the body language and facial expressions, and what do you think they're feeling, and what are all the words for what they might be feeling to help build that emotional vocabulary. The next thing I want to do, and the last thing I want to do, is I want to practice some of these things that we've talked about. So I'm going to do that through practice and play activities. I might use puppets to role play some of the different things that are going on. A lot of times my kids will have partner talks, and I have these microphones where the kids take turns talking and listening and interviewing each other on the different prompts that I give them. One of the games that we like to play a lot is headbands. So this is just a game that you can find at Walmart or anywhere. Headbands is you put, and we just adapted it for SEL. You put the headband on, and in there you put an emotion. This one says embarrassed, or I have mad. And the kids are trying to guess what it is that's on their headband. They don't know what is on there. So that other children will be giving them clues about that if you're feeling mad, well, your face is red, or your fists are clenched, or this, you might feel this way if someone takes your toy, or you might feel this way if someone cuts in front of line with you, okay? So those kind of things, other kids in the classroom are giving clues to the person who has the headband on about what their emotions are. We'll also play some charades where the kids pull an emotion out of the hat and they show, without any words, just body language and facial expression, and the other kids have to guess what emotion they might be feeling. One of our activities for older kids that we do is an emotions wheel. And this has different emotions around the piece of pie. And this is really a fun activity, and I love the way this turns out every time. The kids illustrate each emotion, and they can do it through pictures, symbols, colors, those kind of things. And they end up being really cool, and it's really interesting to see what they come up with. But the kids illustrate all the different emotions in that piece of pie. Another thing that we do is we want to start going back to our zones of regulation. We want to be able to identify what emotions are in each zone. So I want a child to be able to recognize and to articulate to me that my body's moving slowly. I might need these things to help me get back to the green zone. Or I'm really angry. I'm losing control right now. I need to get to the green zone. A kid that's losing control is going to say that, but they might start to be able to reflect on that later and to say, whoa, I was really in the red zone and I wasn't sure what to do. Now I remember I can use some of those skills. So one of the things that we might do to practice this is taking a blank emotion chart and then taking a red, green, yellow, or blue crayon to color code this. To say, angry, that's the red zone. Bored, that's my body's moving slowly, so that's the blue zone. If I'm confident, I'm in the green zone, so I'm going to color that one green. So those are some of the activities that we might do. Another fun one to build emotional vocabulary is I will take big pieces of poster paper and put them around the room with an emotion word on top. I'll divide the kids into partners or teams and give each team a different colored marker. And as they travel around the room, they'll try to think of as many words that go along with the emotion word that I put at the top. So if I put the word mad at the top, they might come up with words like furious or angry, those kind of things, and come up with as many as they possibly can. It's really fun because this is a competition, and at the end, we can count how many they came up with in their color of marker from all around the room, and the one with the most wins. So that makes it a lot of fun. Another thing I might do is take a pocket chart and some facial expressions to sort the different facial expressions into zones so that I can say, I can tell from this facial expression, that they're in the green zone. So I can print out some pictures and sort them into my pocket chart. Another fun game that we play is around the room. I will have posters up around the room that say, I feel, and an emotion word, when, and a blank. So the kids will go around with their partner and say, if the word is embarrassed, for example, they come to the poster that says, I feel embarrassed when. Then they will talk with their partner at that time about a time that they felt embarrassed or something that embarrasses them. And then when they're finished and they take turns talking and listening, they'll go to the next poster and do the next emotion word. So really identifying and taking those emotions into their own life. This is a time when I felt that way. So now you want to take this into your classroom. The first thing that I would do is talk about the physical symptoms of emotions. And the next thing is tone of voice, body language, and facial expressions, and the zones of regulation. And how there are positive ways and negative ways to express every single emotion. After you've taught these concepts, you want to use them in your classroom, in your daily language, and the way that you interact with your students. So you might have a magnet board where students check in the beginning of the day or throughout the day about what their emotion is and how they're feeling. You might be saying things like, oh, I can tell by your facial expression that you're feeling frustrated. What can you do to help yourself right now? We can also do things like saying, look at the character in our book, look at their facial expression and body language and how they might be feeling right now. What can they do to make themselves feel better? As much as you can, you want to try to incorporate this into your classroom day by referring to it in books and throughout your day to be able to help kids to build their emotional vocabulary and their emotional awareness. Thanks for watching.
For additional resources, please visit the West Virginia Early Childhood Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports website at www.wvecpbis.org. Thank you for viewing video 2 of the 6-part series on social emotional learning. If you would have any questions, please contact us at kelly9@marshall.edu or 304-696-2332. Be on the lookout for our next video, which will be on emotional regulation.